Feature 9 of the Building Background component requires that teachers emphasize key vocabulary for their students. But English learners need more than just help learning content language. They also need to learn cross-curricular words. What this means is there are a number of terms that are used throughout the curriculum, terms that we use in math, science, social studies, and language arts. These would be terms like summarize. Where do we summarize? We summarize everywhere. Other terms like although, which is really a subordinating conjunction, is actually a very important word, and we use it to make complex connections between ideas. Sarah Russell, a high school sheltered English teacher, has categorized some of these cross-curricular words for us and put them on posters. Let's take a look at Sarah's work. So Sarah calls these cross-curricular terms or words signal words, and she's created many different categories for us. She has a category of words we use to compare. You can see these are words like as well as, to, like, similarly. She also has some words for contrasting, on the other hand, although, yet. She categorizes words into cause and effect and problem and solution. And here we have words like because, since, therefore. Another category Sarah created for us is sequence or order, first, second, third. Finally, Sarah gives us description or list to illustrate, for instance, in addition. And these are words that we would need before we added a list or we gave a description. So we have these lists of cross-curricular terms or words that students need to learn. How do we incorporate these words into our instruction? Well, one good way to do it is to think of language objectives. How would we incorporate these words into a language objective? How would we help students use these words? Well, we would first of all provide examples for these students so that they could see how the word was used. Many of these words that Sarah has given us are subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions are used to write complex sentences. And as our students are being asked to compare and contrast and to grapple with complex ideas, they're going to need to learn to use complex sentences. So we can provide examples of complex sentences for them using Sarah's signal words. Let's take a look at how we might start helping our students learn to use these new words. Since many of the words that Sarah have given us are actually subordinating conjunctions and they're used to create complex sentences, we might want to model for the students what these words would look like in a complex sentence. Words like because transportation became much more affordable, people began moving west. I would point out to students that the sentence is beginning with because, that it has two parts, and it's actually separated by a comma. This is a reoccurring pattern that's pretty easy for students to pick out once they notice it. If works the same way. It's also a subordinating conjunction. It also has two parts to the sentence. If transportation had not been so affordable, comma, fewer people would have gone west. And it also has a very predictable pattern and a pretty straightforward meaning. So students can pick this up quickly once they understand the pattern. And the final sentence that I'm showing here uses the word although. Although there were still plenty of jobs available in the East, comma, pioneers headed west to settle new territory. Again, all of these sentences are complex, but they have very predictable patterns. And once you show students the patterns, there are two parts to the sentence, they're separated by a comma, and they begin with Sarah's signal words. They're pretty easy to replicate. How would this look like in an objective? Because these make excellent language objectives for students. Here are some examples. You will discuss the reasons for westward expansion using the following words, because, if, and although. And remember, we're going to have those patterns for the students so that they can follow them. You will compare reptiles and mammals using the following words, while and like. Or you will contrast fusion and fission using the following words, although and while. Like we said earlier, these are cross-curricular words. They're what students need in order to grapple with complex concepts, and they really help us emphasize key vocabulary for our students.